Hello everyone, it's Reagan and this is my channel Oregano, and I wanted to talk about a book that I finished reading a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to talk to everybody about because I know it's not a new book, but I just kind of wanted to put its positive energy out there in the world. I don't know if that made sense, but it is The Actor's Survival Guide by Jenna Fischer. Jenna Fischer moved to Hollywood at age 22 with a theater degree in hand, ready to work hard, but it would be 8 long years of struggle, rejection, and doubt before she landed her iconic role on The Office. If only she had someone to show her the way, an established actor who could manage her expectations and reassure her in moments of despair. Jenna wants to be that person for you. With an amusing candor and wit, Fischer spells out the nuts and bolts of getting established in the profession based on her own memorable and hilarious experiences. In The Actor's Life, she tells you how to get the right headshots, what to look for in representation, and the importance of joining forces with other like-minded artists in creating your own work. She provides helpful hints on how to take risks and how to not fall for scams, as well as the tricks to good auditions and callbacks. Fischer feels like a trusted friend who's made the journey and has now returned to walk beside you to blaze your own path. I picked up this book because I think it was a Q&A, and I think it was Madeleine Petch, I think that's how you say her last name. I think it was a Q&A about, what are some books you recommend for aspiring actors or something along those lines. And I think that this book was mentioned somewhere. I could be wrong. It might have been someone else, but she has a YouTube channel, so I'm pretty sure it was her. But anyway, so I decided to pick this up, and I'm not gonna lie, it took me some time to actually read it because I have read acting books before, and a lot of them are either, I would say, almost like a workbook for a class, if that makes sense. Like, they'll have exercises, and they'll have, like, a sample scene, and it'll be, like, right in this book kind of thing. Or if they're not, and they're, about acting as a profession, they feel just very stern and very set in their ways, almost. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I just read quite a lot of them, and I didn't really know who this person was, and I picked it up because it was recommended, and honestly, I'm really happy I did, and I'm happy I read it when I did because I really felt it meant a lot to me because at the time, I was waiting for college decisions, and ever since I started acting in January 2017, my goal and my entire kind of perspective on acting has been to get into college for it because I wanted to be down there and I wanted to continue training and I wanted to learn about film. This is not what the video is meant to be about. But anyway, and so once everything was kind of in and submitted and artistic applications were done, in-person auditions were done, I honestly didn't really know what to do with myself. Because again, just for like 2 years, I had been focusing on this one goal. Then all of a sudden, I can't do anything to help it anymore. It's gonna be what's gonna be. I've done all that I can, and it was a waiting game at that point. So I decided to pick this up off my bookshelf. Yeah. So it is 250 pages. It is, about, it's hard to say it's about acting specifically. It's not about kind of the craft of acting, which I think a lot of books are about. It's about her experience on kind of a personal level, on a business level that's not, again, working towards being a better actor. It's her story she's trying to share, but not an objective she's trying to teach, if that makes sense. I'm going to read to you from my Goodreads, since I do have a Goodreads, about kind of my reaction to it. The first thing I wrote, let's see, it was 22 days ago. I was on page 40, and I said, as someone trying to get into acting schools, I'm finding Jenna Fischer talking about struggling oddly comforting. Maybe because I feel that I'm being prepared and learning. I thought it has one of those emojis, and man, that is loud. I keep forgetting my phone's so loud. And yeah, that's really kind of how I felt about it. Felt that I was kind of on her journey with her. So I guess it took her 8 years to kind of go from out of school to being on The Office and making it. I just felt that I was learning with her, going down her path, going down her journey with her, and kind of learning and discovering and making mistakes with her. And, they weren't all about these successes that she had over time. It was talking about she was trying to get into an audition that she wasn't invited to, and how that kind of backfired, and how, she snuck into a party, for example, with these actors from a TV show, and how she kind of got caught because she got off of work by saying she was sick and her boss was there, and I think there's a lot of experiences like that. The overall review I had was on March 11th, which I guess it must have been when I was done with it. I gave it 5 stars. As an aspiring actor, I felt this was extremely comforting. And not in the way of everything will be okay, but more so it's okay not to be great or a quick success. I often look up to actors who are the same age as me. I'm 17, and they've been working for years and have been dedicated for this for almost their entire lives. And I didn't take my first acting class until I was 15. And it was scary looking at those people wondering how I meant to compete with that. And the answer is, I'm not. I'm me and not them. I have my own life experiences to bring to the table. If I could sum up this book in one way, it would be a warm hug. Thank you, Jenna Fischer. Describe the tone of the book was almost like an aunt or a family friend who has kind of made time out of their day to sit down on the sofa with you and just talk. Because I feel like a lot of the time when I talk about wanting to be an actor and, thinking about how hard it's going to be, people's immediate reactions are to try to comfort me, which I do understand. But the way they do it is almost in a little bit of a diminishing way. Like, they start making it sound like, oh, it won't be a struggle, it won't be hard. It's almost like I'm making some sort of fuss. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. And maybe that's just my experience. But I feel that instead of people telling me, you're going to be strong, you're going to improve, you're going to just improve yourself and kind of face the challenge, and instead of people telling me I'm going to rise to the occasion and kind of being more that inspiring, they start lowering the challenge or the struggle of being that aspiring actor or aspiring artist. And I felt that Jenna Fischer was just kind of the warm hug that I needed in saying that this is going to be hard, talking about, again, her journey, her struggles. It was 8 years before she made it out of the office. And I know this is only a small section of her life, and I'm so grateful that she shared what she did. I'm like wringing my hands. Oh my god, I'm like getting nervous. Anyway, yeah, this book has just meant a lot to me, and I actually, although I finished it, I do plan on taking it with me to college, and I think this will be one of those books that I never want to leave my side because it is comforting. And yes, she shared good advice, and I think a lot of that advice, some of it I knew already, but a lot of the advice I didn't, or it was something I hadn't particularly thought about before. Like her talking about how, you're not just going to kind of sit on your sofa and be discovered. You need to find that community and be a part of it and create things that you can be in, and not always have it kind of not handed to you, but not always be a part of someone else's project, but to make your own, to have other people be a part of. I really appreciated that. I feel like this is a very uplifting book, but again, not in a kind of false pedestal kind of way. And I really wanted this to be a very energetic review. I don't seem to be, which is really odd, because for the rest of the day, I've been extremely energetic. Have to take it a little bit less seriously. Well, not seriously. I can still take things seriously and talk about it in a meaningful manner. And for example, one of the things that I'd kind of put a post-it note on, this is page 48, and it has a headshot adjective list. So it has adorable, adventurous, affluent, scrappy, self-assured, self-conscious, innocent, intimidating, meek, no-nonsense, old soul, overbearing. There's an entire page of this. I by no means read it. And she also has down what the casting call was for Pam Beasley. And I really like this list because I do know, and I have seen on acting websites before, oh, you should have different types of resumes and submit them according to the character. But they don't really talk about why, what type of resumes, in what way. And I think, Jenna Fischer really does talk about knowing your own type, because you are going to be kind of typecasted, and maybe from that point you can spread out and different things, but you are going to kind of start with a type of character. And I really appreciate this because it's like a list when they have put out casting calls that they describe the character as, and so it's just easier to have a headshot that's towards that than it is to try to come up with your own words that maybe aren't used. Again, this book is not about how to improve your acting. It's kind of about the rest of it. It's how to almost improve and change like the personal side of it, the business side of it. I mean, a recurring theme that she talks about is, as an actor, you are business almost. Like, you are the product, you are the CEO, you are the marketing and sales divisions, you are the packaging, you are a mini business, and then you bring in agents, you bring in managers, but you are like the CEO of your own business where you are the product. And I thought that was a very interesting way to phrase it, and kind of almost changes my perspective on how to go about acting in a way. So she spends a little bit in the beginning of the book talking about, her background through high school and through college, and that's like a very small part of it. The majority of the book is about kind of those 8 years before The Office. Section of it that I have kind of checked off, and I think I'll read the part before it so it makes a little bit more sense. I found this to be a little bit inspiring and supportive because I feel like sometimes I'm rushing too much to get quantity, or just kind of rush out there without quality. So I thought this kind of meant something to me. You have the best chance of landing a good agent or manager when at least 3 of the following are true. You are a trained actor, you have professional headshot, you are in the union or close to being in the union, you have some professional credits / experience under your belt. If you've been following my advice, you should be right on track. If you bought this book and skipped ahead to this chapter, something I probably would have done, stop, go back, and read about how to get yourself ready. As my grandpa always said, you need to sharpen the axe before you cut down the tree. The job goes faster that way. And I feel that's a good kind of snippet of how the book was written and how she kind of presents the information that she wishes to. Because I think to an extent you do have to hustle and rush, but I think again you do have to be serious and rush on improving yourself, and I almost feel the rest of it will kind of follow. Maybe it won't, but like how like iPhones have generations, like you need to upgrade yourself before expecting great things or to make the next step on a professional level. Like it kind of has to be matching. I don't know if that makes sense, and it might not, and I'll probably end up taking this part out. Yeah, so she has like a little bit of exercises on acting, not a lot. There's like a couple pages of it, and there's this one part about how to practice auditioning at home, and it's like simple exercises. And again, it does talk about you do need a friend to kind of help you out, and this kind of goes back to, she phrases it as you need to find or create a tribe of artists as a way of emotionally supporting, but also on a professional level supporting. I think you just learn more as a group because you have more experiences accumulatively than one person could ever really have. I don't know if this is a very good review. And so at the beginning it talks about her starting her journey, starting to go out there, those first steps, those feelings as if you were in it. And then I really like is that at the end of the book, the end of the book that she writes as her own perspective, she goes back to those kind of memories, looks back on them as she is now at the end of the journey. Yeah, which I thought was just extremely interesting to see how it was perceived differently and how she processed it differently than when she first had it. Now at the very end of the book, this is definitely in the edition I have, I assume it's in all of the editions, sharing the brush strokes, and she talks to, I assume, one of her friends and people she's worked with, and interview them a little bit in the last chapter. And I think it really does highlight how everybody has a different path, and how they get there is different, how they make it is different. So thank you so much for watching and getting this far in the video. I mean, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I would love for the comment section to be a supportive ground. I mean, whether that be as someone who has read the book or someone who's interested in reading it, or anything you really kind of feel that you might want to add to the conversation, even an inspiring story or something that kind of touched you. I want to somehow make my channel come across as she comes across in this book, and supportive, and just kind of almost give you all a virtual warm hug. Yeah, if you like this video, I mean, you might like some of my other videos, so you can check that out. You can take a risk and click the subscribe button right away, really up to you on that. But yeah, no, I will have the link to this book down below. I will have the link to Amazon and maybe the publisher, or if she has a website, that. Yeah, so you just have multiple ways of picking this book up. And yeah, I'd just like to say again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week.